Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And tonight we are covering the return of the Venture Brothers, Season 7, Episode 1, Venture Brothers and the Curse of the Haunted Problem. Very long title there. What's up, Dennis Bethalkis in San Diego? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I am in my Venture Brothers attire, of course. I've got my Sergeant Hatred hat. And also, you always got to remember 24. Always got to remember 24.
24.
Yeah.
2008.
2008, I know. I looked at that too, and I was like, holy shit, that was a long time ago. So
yeah. God, it feels like forever since we had a Venture Brothers season, and it kind of has been.
It's been 2 years.
It has been. And when did this show premiere?
This show premiered, and I actually have it up. And I need to go back to it again because
yeah, 2003, February
2003.
16th,
yeah,
2003. Dang. Yeah. It has been a long time, but goddamn, this is such a good show. Great animation, funny as hell. Yeah, I just love everything about it. And I'm so happy that it's back. And I'm glad to be covering it here on the Nerdrotic channel. And hello, everybody in the chat. We'll get to you shortly. And yeah, we're going to run over the episode real quick and then get to you. Find out what you think.
Yeah, so we open up with 2 years ago, and Jonas Venture Junior, a little guy, of course, finding the down Gargantua 1 spacecraft, Venture spacecraft out in the desert. Yeah. And of course, everyone's freaked out because it falls down in front of this old statue of a demon. And he's like, we're all men of science. There's nothing to be scared of here. And he finds a machine that's left inside the Gargantua 1. It's called Problem, excuse me.
Yeah.
And that actually ends up in his building. And so we see it's now, and we see Sergeant Hatred going through and doing the tour and talking about, how that machine came about. He was actually telling that whole story. And it's on the tour. And he says now it's hooked into the mainframe, and they don't know what it does really, but it's hooked up there. Yeah, the red button, exactly, Mary Ashmean. And we see as they pass by, this little arm comes out, this little tube, grabs onto one of the cockroaches and sucks the blood out of it. Very ominous to begin with.
Yes.
And so from there on, we start seeing everything going haywire in the building. So Dean is having, well, first of all, Dr. Venture starts having the alarm clock going off, which we had from last season as well.
Yes, we did. And in the beginning, Philip A. Dimick points out in the beginning when they found the ship, the Exorcist 2 reference there. That was great.
Yeah, there's a lot of references in here.
Yeah, it was hard to keep up with.
Yeah, it was really hard to keep up with. I did love the Sharky's machine reference, though. That was
yeah, dude. Oh God, if you guys don't know Sharky's Machine, old Burt Reynolds movie.
Yeah, a really bad Burt Reynolds movie.
It's famous for a stuntman dying during the jumping from the building scene. Yeah,
exactly. And so we're starting to see that the alarm clock is going off again, complete with Jonas Venture Jr.'s holographic projection. It just keeps getting bigger, and of course, Dr. Venture keeps trying to turn it off because it's happening in the middle of the night. Dean starts seeing that his everything's going haywire in his room, and then also he's starting to have stomach cramps, and he has problem written backwards on his stomach
from the inside.
Yeah, from the inside, which alludes again to something that happened last season. And then Brock is having cold weather happening in his room. It's dropped down like 30 degrees, and he can't get it to go back up again. And the door keeps opening, closing, slamming, and a phantom arm comes reaching out of his keypad on the wall, trying to grab him, talking about death and all this stuff.
Yeah, we keep hearing a song in the background too. Street Life. Yeah.
Street Life, yeah, which was, from Sharky's Machine.
Yes.
And this is all playing out in the building. It's just playing havoc. And the next morning we see Brock sitting there, his coffee's kind of jiggling, and Dr. Venture's like, don't you think you had enough coffee?
Right. Brock's all freaked out. I love how Brock's all freaked out.
And Helper's even possessed at this point too.
Yep.
And we also saw, they're like, well, where the hell's Hank at? And just as we hear Hank's voice, when they mention Hank, we see him wake up. He's like, oh my God, it's like someone walked over my grave. And we see him, he's been with Serena all this time. And she goes, oh, well, that's pretty good. I almost got your shirt off this time. And he says, well, I was trying to concentrate on the Walking Dead zombies, but then Michonne showed up. So, of course, he has to get out of there, too, because him and Serena are now a thing. And he's not supposed to be in there. She's not supposed to have guys in her room either. So, yeah. So he comes in, of course, walking in, and I love the line that Dean's trying to tell him that, it's haunted. Maybe that Jonas is trying to, is haunting the building, Jonas Jr. And he said, maybe Uncle Jonas is haunting the room. He goes, it keeps happening every time your alarm clock keeps going off. He goes, by that logic, Clippy the paperclip haunts me every time I try to write a letter. I mean, there's so many good lines in this thing. And we have, of course, Hank walks in, and Dean says, why isn't Hank being haunted too? And Hank says, because I'm a good person.
Because I'm a good person.
And then I love, it's my favorite line. He says, Hank says, have you rolled out the old lighthouse keeper in a rubber mask?
A rubber mask.
It's awesome. And of course, Hank has left behind his pizza hat.
Pizza hat, yeah, on the bed. I was just going to mention that.
So he is working for Vincenzo, and when he goes back into work, Vincenzo looks kind of beaten up. And of course, he says, "You always wear your pizza hat when you go out and deliver." He goes, "You're fired." So of course, we know who owns the actual pizza place. It's not Vincenzo; it's the White Whale.
And we got our Godfather Part 2 reference there, which
we did.
when he runs out after he's all fine, I'm fired, and he brings him the pizza. He's all, "You're a good boy.
You're a good boy." Yeah, and he gives him a heart-shaped pizza.
Yeah.
And of course, we see that his hover bike has been destroyed too. It's been, stay away from Serena. It's spray painted on it. And at this point, Dean has been telling, I guess it's been happening for a while, that the building's been kind of possessed. And Dean says, it's time to call Dr. Orpheus. And of course, Dr. Venture's like, no, we don't need to call that hack. We don't need to call him in.
Yeah.
And he goes, I've got my IT people working on it. And he's gone down.
Just a glitch.
Yeah. And he goes down to see Pete White and, of course, Billy Quizboy. And
I love Quizboy.
Yeah. And they're down there, of course, tinkering with their stuff. And Billy, actually, Pete says, that song isn't in your library. Street Life by Sharky's Machine. That's when we find out it's from Sharky's
I know
Machine.
These things. I used to be a college DJ.
Exactly. And so he goes, you're being hacked from the outside. So of course he puts in his pink USB because everything that he wears is pink, which is just really odd. And he says, oh, it's going to take a little while. Anyone want to go out and get lunch?
Yeah.
And so at this point, we see that the Order of the Triad shows up. And I love that they have the license plate is Blood Vessel. It's Jefferson Twilight's car, by the way.
Yes.
So Jefferson Twilight, who hunts Blackulas exclusively.
In case you forgot.
Oh man, and he's just complaining about the drive, and how he hasn't had a drink because he has to drink blood as well, and of course the alchemist is all jazzed that he's in New York for the first time, and they're bringing out Orpheus, who is in his he's basically out in the astral plane.
He's in his astral form because they're caught in traffic.
Yeah, so he went ahead to announce that they're going to be coming. And Hank, in the meantime, has the White Whale in crosshairs because he wants to listen into what's going on across the way.
Yeah.
And Serena's pissed off that the White Whale has sealed up all the windows at this point because of the Blue Morpheus. Now, if you remember from last season, the Blue Morpheus is actually
the Monarch.
The Monarch, exactly, because the Monarch, that was his father.
That was his dad.
And so he found the lair.
He found the lair, and I love when they were watching. God, I forgot which episode it was from season 6 when he's watching the video of Blue Orpheus and Jonah Venture, and they have the two actresses come by and they like drop trowel right there.
Yeah, Jill St. John and Barbara Stevens.
Barbara Stevens, yep. Those are not my mommies, and there's an 80% chance they're not your moms.
Oh God, it was so good. And so he's been killing off all these villains that are arching Dr. Venture because he wants to move up and become Dr. Venture's arch again, is what he wants to do. And of course his wife is the head of the guild that arranges all these things, and so he's doing this behind her back. She doesn't know that he's the blue morpho at this point.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the blue morpho is a butterfly. So we have the whole butterfly theme still going on from father to son, which is just really weird at the same time. So that's the reason why the white whale has all the windows sealed. So Orpheus comes back in astral form, and he's talking to Dean about their problem. And Brock won't sleep inside. He won't come inside at all. He's setting up a tent outside by the pool. And in the meantime, the alchemist.
Brock's got this irrational fear of ghosts, which is hilarious.
Yeah. And so the alchemist and Jefferson Twilight are bringing in Orpheus's body, and he finally, puts his soul back into his body and starts talking again. And Orpheus goes, wait a minute. I feel it now. Your house is possessed. So the house is possessed now at this point.
Yes.
And Billy and Pete are downstairs. They're trying to hack the problem. And I love how Billy goes, they make us look so much better in the movies. And Pete's like, yeah, well, you have a good techno soundtrack and all that kind of stuff. He goes, well, just say it. Just say you found the problem.
Yeah. Can I get a close up? And you just say, we're in. We're in. Then, of course, shit goes sideways, right?
Yeah. Billy leaves, and just after we see all the screens kind of flickering a bit, and all that
pink
stuff.
USB gets
shot out. Yeah. And he's like, screw this, I'm going out, and so he leaves, and Pete's still going to work on this. And of course, Pete gets conked in the head by a possessed helper. Poor helper. Helper gets screwed over quite a bit in this season.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, the Order of the Triad has painted a circle now on the floor, and Dr.
But there was already a circle on the floor. Why did you need to paint over it?
Because it wasn't a magic circle.
Yeah, it wasn't a magic circle.
Yeah, because believe me, you want a magic circle when the demon comes.
Yep.
And
the demon's going to know about my mom. Well, he is now.
It is. And of course, all hell's breaking. And I love it. They all have candles on their head.
Yeah, they have helmets with these little, it's with candles on them.
And when they get all lit up, he says, great, does this make us all Green Lanterns now? That's what Dr. Venture says. And all hell starts breaking loose. We start having all these, as Dr. Orpheus does the incantation, we start having all these ghosts flying around and everything.
Camp 1, the first dog to die on the moon.
Exactly. All the people that died in the attic of the Venture house the first time around on fire.
Yeah, the fire that was started by piles of felt that was lit up by a zeppelin.
Yeah, the Great Venture Millery fire of 1907 is what. As
first they see a bunch of like natives and they think they're going for the mask, and they're like, that's not a real mask. He's that's Dean's that's something I made in art class. Who said you could take art class?
Yeah, Scamp 1. Well, we also had mention of Scamp 3 in last season when I don't remember if you remember when Rusty jumped on the grenade that Scamp 3 was going towards.
I forgot about that.
And it went through his basically went through his body. It was a little flag that says bang. Yeah, so there's a lot of callbacks. I mean, there's just callbacks after callbacks after callbacks on this.
This is like an impossible show to like jump into in the middle.
Yeah.
You will have no idea what's going on.
And the good thing about it is there's not that many episodes in each season. So even though they're just starting season 7, you can catch up on this in a good like couple of weeks. Like 2 weeks. Oh God,
yeah.
weeks.
If you have not seen this show, you have to go back and watch the show.
Yeah. And it's just awesome. I mean, it's an awesome show. So Orpheus, of course, is trying to summon the demon. And in the meantime, we see Dean trying to get access to Serena, and he brings over a pizza. Hank is going over to bring a pizza as a peace offering, and it's
The
from
wide whale, yeah.
Vincenzo's. Yeah, to the
Yeah.
white whale, and of course the
Wide whale.
bodyguards.
Wide.
Wide whale.
Wide
Wide
whale.
whale.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And he has his whale lice. That's what they are. They're supposed to be whale lice. These guys. That's what they're dressed as.
There's a guy named Rocco.
Yeah, and he goes, "Get away from here." He basically has a big a trident, if you will, and that
Yeah,
it
that
collapses.
shocks you. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, "It's got 50,000 volts." He goes, "I'll take that thing off. All you have left is your taint." So Dean's like, all right. He goes, "I know, Hank. You'll never see Hank Venture ever again." We see him with a slight Hank Venture. He makes sure to emphasize that you'll never see Hank Venture again. We find out that the pizza has been doctored, of course, and all the men get knocked out. And inside, Wide Whale grabs his gun and he tells Serena to stay in her room. And he goes in to go find out what that is. He thinks it's the blue Morpho going for him, when really it's Hank dressed up as Enrico Matassa.
Enrico Matassa.
He uses a whip of it looks like a rope of hot dogs almost in a way to grab the gun, and he says he wants to work for the Wide Whale.
Yep.
Yeah. And in the meantime, the ghosts have died down in the room, and we find out that there's a big, that problem computer is flashing up there. And so they go to find out what's going on, and they open it up. And in the meantime, by the way, I digress there. Billy has gone over to go and meet his mom and Action Man and all the old group, all the old
when
crew.
He walks in the house, he's all, "I hope you're all decent this time."
Yeah. Exactly. And he starts talking about what was going on, and they all freak out, and they're like, "Wait, the light's on? How long has the light been on?" And sure enough, they knock out Billy's mom, so she doesn't know anything. They always knock out Billy's mom.
Fetch me an Uber.
Yeah, fetch me an Uber. Yeah, the Sean Connery look-alike.
Yeah.
My God, it's just hilarious. And they, of course, bust in just as they're opening up the mainframe, the problem mainframe, and they find Jonas Venture's head and circulatory system in place in there.
Yep. And it was actually called Problem.
Problem, yes.
Yeah. I forgot what it was an acronym for, but
and so what this was supposed to be was, if anything ever happened to him, they had plans, or they had instructions to put his head in there, and it was actually a Soviet era experiment to keep the head alive. But they said, we never thought it was going to work. And here you go, 30 years later, the light comes on, because that's the first time it's come on in 30 years. And Dean goes, "But it's been on." And Dr. Venture grabs his mouth and goes, yeah, 30 years. That's the first time it's come on.
Yep.
So obviously it's been coming on before.
Yes, it has. And he's just been all shh. And then Jonas opens his mouth. He's all rusty, and he's all, "Dad." And then Pete White comes out with an axe.
Yeah, he's like, "We got to sever the hard line." It's coming from inside the house. First of all, is what he says. It's coming from inside the mainframe.
Yep.
I tracked it down, which of course is another reference to another horror movie.
Yep.
And of course he severs or he chops into Dr. Venture's circulatory system, and he screams, and everything just starts going nuts at this point. The Uber driver takes off.
Yep.
He's gone at this point. We see the building all lighting up and everything, and Orpheus says he's trying to run. And that's when we get to be continued.
Yeah, and also the Hank has to kill the blue Morpho. That's for him to work for the Wide Whale. He's like, "Okay, you got to do one thing for me if you want to work for me." And opens up a door, and there's the blue Morpho sitting in a room on the other side of a pool, which at this time they don't know who it is, and yeah, that's where it ends. So I love the scenes for next week too. They're all, "Next time on the Venture Brothers, that had to hurt." That was pretty funny. That was good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this was a great episode to start off the season with. And again, like I said, so many callbacks that If you haven't watched it in a while, which again, it's been 2 years since we had a new episode, you had to go. I actually went back and watched the last 4 episodes of last season just
Well,
to.
I'm reading here that like last season didn't, or the last season, not last season, the season 6 didn't as much. It ended pretty abruptly,
Yeah.
and it's insinuated that they ran out of money for episodes, so they just kind of stopped. I think they intended to do more and didn't. So that's what I'm reading. I don't know if that's true. It's on the internet, so it has to be true. Who
Yeah,
knows?
that's true. Yeah, that's it. Apple Crow says season 6 was so long ago. I was in my 30s.
Dang.
Yeah,
I was still in my 40s.
I was too.
Sorry to say.
Yeah.
So let's get to this wonderful chat. And goddamn, I'm happy this show's back. I've been catching up on it all day, and I told you the story. I was in the gym and I was on the treadmill, and like, do not watch the Venture Brothers on the treadmill. I almost killed myself today laughing. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I also want to say, if you want to get stuff like what I got here, like this kind of stuff, the hatred hat and the shirt, astrobasego.com. They do a weekly shirt, which I'm going on right after this, and I'm going to go and buy my shirt for this week. So, depending on what it is, if it's something really good, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Brotherhood of the Triad or Order of the Triad. So I'm thinking that's what it's going to be.
Well, here's what we got right here.
Yeah, they have a subscription for the entire thing, and they have this week's shirt. It's at the bottom there.
Yeah, look, some shilling for Cartoon Network and Venture Brothers, brought to you by Nerdrotic Channel.
Exactly.
Yes,
I think it's worth it, honestly. So,
totally.
yeah,
absolutely.
So we have Carrie Dalton says it'll be interesting to see how Brock gets his mojo back. He really seemed out of sorts. Yeah, he's been out of it for a while lately. And I honestly don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's just because they haven't had a lot of access to Patrick Warburton as of late or what's going on. But yeah, Brock definitely needs to get his mojo back and needs to start killing again.
Yeah, well, I think they're going to be dealing with that with this season. I don't know how many episodes are we getting this season?
10, if I remember correctly.
That's pretty good. That's good.
And Carrie Dalton says, well, to be honest, that song would be enough to freak me out too. Street Life. Yeah, that was a bad song to begin with when it came out in the 70s. So
let me answer Mary Ashmead's question. That I have not sent them, Mary. I haven't charged. She's asked me, have you sent the Patreon box of the Blu-ray disc? Just wondering, because I haven't. What is it? I have to get them at the front office when they come in at our condo. No, I have Mondays off, so I usually have to do all my mailing on Monday. My work schedule, I can get 0 done during the day, during the work week. That's why I take Mondays off, because that's the only day I can actually do stuff. I also have not charged the patrons yet for July, which I will be doing tonight. I usually try to give them a video or something, but yeah, I just haven't had time. Work's been nuts, but that should go out Monday.
Apple Crow says, anyone notice that the sound of the problem machine was sucking up the cockroach sounded like Dr. Killinger's magic murder machine, magic murder bag? I did not notice that.
I did not notice that.
But it could be because they're all voiced by Soulbot, who also voices Helper.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that's why. Yes. Hello, Mako. Mako says hello to everyone.
What's up, Mako? How you doing?
And Carrie Dalton says, as we learned in season 6, Blue Morpho was basically the Wetworks guy for Jonas. Yes. The Monarch's father, Blue Morpho, was the Wetworks guy for Jonas. Basically anything that wasn't squeaky clean for the Venture team went to the Blue Morpho. Yes. So he did all the dirty stuff.
But I think we're going to get some more lineage twists down the road too. They kind of hinting at some other stuff.
There's going to be a lot of stuff that goes in. And Carrie Dalton, I didn't have enough time to freeze frame the computer screens yet to see if there's anything in the code flashing by. I saw a whole bunch of different symbols and faces and things like that were flashing by, and I know there's stuff hidden in there. That's
yeah, definitely. We try to be on like a few minutes after the episode, but with Venture Brothers, believe it or not, like with Mr. Robot and other stuff, we're probably gonna have to take a little extra time to catch some things because there's so much in this show that we want to catch. So,
and yes, Venture Car, I loved that slogan that was in the Venture lobby: "A century of Ventury."
right.
Apple Crow says that was the mask that Wide Whale stole in the last season. Maybe they'll sick the ghosts on him to get it back. That's right. I forgot about that. The mask in the lobby was what the Wide Whale stole.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he did. That is true. That the Aztec gold.
Yes.
Those look like Aztecs. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And Carrie Dalton says, I was so happy to see Red Death in the preview ad for the next episode. Yes, Red Death is like one of my favorite new characters. And as Viking Bitch pointed out, we're going to have Mark Hamill doing the voice of not one, but two characters in an episode. And they're going to be two totally different characters.
And Red Death is voiced by the great
Clancy Brown.
Yeah. Who might be in The Expanse next season.
He just had a beautiful, beautiful scene. I mean, that episode of him in last season, which I believe was the last episode, if I remember correctly, was awesome, especially when he's talking to the Monarch about separating work and in private life.
Yeah.
And how it can, overtake you if you don't do it. Yeah, it was really good. And how did you get over your the guy that you were obsessed with? Well, I just went up to him and I looked at him in the eye and I squeezed his head in. And I obliterated him and all his family.
Did you read Carrie Dalton's? I assume we will learn next week how Wide Whale captured the blue morpho, although it seemed weird when he thought it was the blue morpho sneaking around his penthouse. Yeah, that was a little off.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
He thought he escaped or something. Yeah, that was kind of weird. And love how Hatred's only concern is how it will affect his tour speech with the problem button. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change the narrative.
Change that whole thing all over again. The coolest part of Jonas being in the problem brings up if it was actually Jonas that Doc was talking to way back in Careers in Science. Yeah, that's right, Apple Crow. When they were on Gargantua 1 before it burned up, I'm wondering if Jonas was actually talking to Doc Venture back there in Careers in Science. That would be interesting. Yeah, we're going to probably find out about that. We're going to find out a lot of things, I hope.
And there's a callback all the way back to season 2, or was it season 1 when they had to go fix the space station?
That was season 1.
Season 1.
Yeah, that was season 1. That's Careers in Science. Yeah.
Jimmy Doolittle says, is everyone aware that episode 2 is out? I heard, they actually released episode 1 early on Adult Swim like 3 days ago, but I heard that the first 2 leaked and you can find them somewhere, but I don't know if it's at Adult Swim yet. Let me check. You can keep talking. I'll check.
Yeah, well. So Philip A. Demick says, Mark Bernardin wants to make a live-action Johnny Quest Venture Brothers. Johnny is an adult and Haji is the villain. I would love to see it. What do you think? Yeah, that would be awesome. I don't know if I want to see Haji as a villain. I think it's kind of cliched. If you turn it around and make Johnny the villain and you make Haji the hero, that'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, interesting. It's not an Adult Swim, but I do know that episode 2 is out there somewhere. We're just going to wait for it to air.
Yeah. What I would love to see is Action Johnny as the Venture Brothers as a movie, live action movie. And I know that they've talked about this, Public and Doc Hammer. They've talked about that they want to do a live action movie of this, which would be so sweet.
That would be so great.
I would love a TV. I mean, Amazon just needs to get on it. That's all. Mako says Venture Brothers Preacher in a new Picard show announcement in the same day. Is this some alternate reality where things don't suck? No, just
no. There's summertime is a slow time for TV, but it's been a lot of bad news this summer. It was nice to get some good stuff, a good Preacher episode, a good Venture Brothers. The Picard thing
it's run by Kurtzman.
It's a wait and see. Yeah, there's okay. The good is Patrick Stewart coming back. The bad, Akiva Goldsman and Kurtzman being involved.
Yep. There's a lot of people in there that you really don't want to have involved. There's 3 people.
Yeah. But yeah, save your questions on that for tomorrow when Doomcock is on. We'll talk all about that. Yeah.
Exactly. And Mako says, feeling good, Gary, sipping coffee at 7:30 a.m. here.
Nice.
Wow.
That's good morning. Good morning in the future.
Exactly. Yes, Clancy Brown. I want to see more Clancy Brown. And yes, Applecur, the T-shirt club is live. That's what I'm saying. After this, I'm going for that. Excuse me.
Yeah, Hatred's knowledge of Venture lore during the tour, that was pretty funny, man. That was pretty funny, Apple Crow.
Jimmy Doolittle says Mark Hamill needs to teach 21 the Jedi ways to help him find his own way.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That would be pretty fun. Well, that whole thing where 21 is leading the monarch down into the cave, and he says, "There's something you need to see." He goes, "What do I need to bring with me? Only what you take with you. But you don't need the paint in the purple paint in the."
Yep, when he goes down there, that's when he sees the video of Jonas and
that whole thing was pretty funny. And then of course we have 24 talking to him.
Yes, that was cool.
It was just so geeky on so many levels, but so damn funny at the same time. Slurby Scott, Dr. Quest and Race Bannon were my first gay role models.
Season 1 disc extras have live action movie interviews with Doc and Jackson playing Monarch and Dr. Girlfriend.
Oh man.
Yeah, I obviously have not watched all the extras.
I haven't either. I have it sitting behind me here too. Jody says, yeah, that would be interesting. Dennis Haji as the hero and maybe Johnny as a sort of Jeremiah Surd. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. Just saying, says Mark's a little lost right now. So, no, I don't think Mark's lost. I think Mark Hamill is actually in the right spot. He's right where he needs to be.
Well, on the Venture Brothers, but not where he is right now. Poor Mark. Yeah. I do feel bad for Mark. Watching your, pretty much your legacy go down in flames. Hopefully he can. Nah, it's too late. Damage done. But that's why we have good stuff. We have so much good stuff out there. We got Mr. Robot, The Expanse, Legion, Venture Brothers. And we've got 10 episodes to cover, which, summer was getting we put out a lot of videos, but it believe it or not, it's been kind of slow for us. I mean, it's not like any hook TV to get into, but that's starting to speed up again. We're getting a lot of new shows. Plus, a bunch of the shows we cover have been delayed. So, yeah.
There was another thing I really liked about this episode too, is that Sergeant Hatred was talking about Princess Tiny Feet. And how, how that worked out. He goes, I had to go to her father, Chief Justice. He was a hero, and I had to walk up to him and ask for her hand.
What is titanium TP or something like that?
TP, yeah. So he goes, I put on the charm, and of course he zapped me, and I zapped him right back.
Yep. I shot him and shot him right back. Yeah.
He shot me, and I shot him right back. Oh God, that's. Because this is Hank telling Sergeant Hatred about Serena, what's going on, and because of course he had come into the lobby all pissed off, and so Sergeant Hatred was asking about that. And so we have Chief Justice is such a great name, Carrie Dalton. It's that's why it just made me laugh. There's so many good things packed in this episode, and it's hard to believe that this thing is only like 22 minutes long, something like that.
Yep.
And there's just so much packed in references. And, we've been talking about this now for over 40 minutes here.
Yep.
And as you can tell, it's just a half hour, 22-minute episode. And there's just so much to talk about because we had to talk about all the backstory, too, that it alluded to. Yeah.
And they have great rewatchability too. That's one of the best things about it. Haven't had a chance to see the Venture Brothers, but sounds excellent. Just saying, it is. Cannot recommend it high enough. You could go to Adult Swim,
and watch them for free.
I think all the episodes are there for free.
So. Yeah, they are. Also, if you have Hulu, they have all the seasons up as well.
Yep.
So they're all there. And yeah, just saying, if you like Johnny Quest at all, if you like Twisted Johnny Quest, that's what this is. This is Twisted Johnny Quest is essentially what it is. And it's just funny. It's really funny, and it's got a lot of how can I say this, deep cuts of some really weird references
of everything,
of everything.
pop culture. I mean, this is like the king of pop culture references, if you like that kind of thing. But it does it in a really funny, matter of fact way.
And history, even art history, because Doc Hammer is a huge art history person. He likes doing oil paint. He paints in oil really well, by the way. Awesome stuff. And so they work that stuff in there too. So there is everything for everybody in this thing that you'll find something to laugh at, really.
Yes.
And yes, Brock Sampson is back.
Brock is back.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah, he's not
really
in the
whole
himself.
episode. Yeah, he's going to be in it more. So that, yeah. So we will be back same bat time next Sunday to cover this show. And of course, we got Preacher. Our next show is going to be tomorrow morning in about 12 hours from now. Doomcock and I will be doing a 1 hour special in the morning. He and I will be just chatting away for an hour. So yeah, he's on time constraint. And actually, I am too. So we're going to just do an hour. And then later on, I'll probably do a nooner, regular length nooner. Then we have 2 more shows tomorrow night. We have Better Call Saul and Lodge 49. Yeah, lots of stuff to cover. So yeah, stay tuned to the Nerd Erotic channel. If you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. We have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/nerderotic. Mary was just talking about it. We give away stuff. Go check it out. You can support us for as little as $1, but we also have a $5 tier and a $15 tier where we give away some stuff. And it's pretty good. We've only got a couple more slots left for the stuff giveaway. So I've kind of limited it to how many people can get it because I can't give away too much stuff. So yeah, Dennis, great episode. Laughed my ass off, but it's time for us to turn in.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And just want to thank everybody in the chat that came in and joined us at this late hour. I know it's late or early for some of you as well. Some of you are in the future right now, Mako. And some of you, it's later than later than ours. But thank you for all, for joining us. It's a great episode.
It was a great episode, and we'll real quickly show our little Patreon video here that I was just talking about. I probably should have showed this while I was talking about it, but oh well. We can thank everybody in the chat: Jody, Mako, Mary Ashmead, Applecrow, Just Saying, Jimmy Doolittle, Penn Farm Girl, Ed Brewer. Man, I'm losing my voice. Applecrow, Carrie Dalton, or is it Carrie
Dalton?
Doolton. Sorry, Dooltons. My bad. Mako, Slurmy Scott, Spirit Orb 1616. There we go. Matthew Costa. Going out. Philip A. Demick. And DLS Master. What's up? How's it going? And I thought I saw another one in there, but Tarka Jedi. A Bad Bunny. And that might be it. Oh,
Feisty was in there too.
Feisty fan, Orpheus Maximus.
Orpheus Maximus.
Orpheus Maximus. Yeah, that's brilliant. And if I missed anybody, we do apologize for that. And you guys don't want to see that anymore. So we'll stop. And that will be it. Guys, thanks again for watching.
Thank you all. Thank you for staying up late again. Like
Take
I said.
Us out, Dennis.
Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you'll find your building possessed by your dead father's head.
Yeah. I love when he opened his mouth and they're like, what's that smell? We didn't pack a toothbrush.
We didn't pack him a toothbrush.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Ciao, everyone.